A lot of you tell me you want to do so much more with your training, but every time you try to make training more engaging, you hit a wall. Your content's too boring, there's too much of it, you don't have time, or your stakeholders just won't go for it. Well, what if I told you that every single obstacle that's keeping you from creating that engaging training actually isn't real? Well, in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to prove it to you, because in this video, you're going to see why those barriers don't actually matter, which is good news because there's actually less in your way than you might think. And if you're new here, hi, my name is Mary Jo. I'm a gamification specialist, and I've helped hundreds of instructional designers break free from template hell and create training that learners actually love. I have a program for e-learning designers, so if you want to join the fight against boredom, you can check it out at the link below. Now let's tackle those obstacles. First thing that usually happens in a project is you get the content or you find out the learning objectives. And that's where you're going to look at the compliance regulations or the technical procedures and say, holy crap, there's no way to make this engaging. Wrong. I have never, in 11 years of doing this, encountered content that couldn't benefit from some form of gamification. And trust me, I've seen a lot of stuff that would bore you to actual tears. So when people ask, can this be gamified or is this topic suitable? That's the wrong question, because the answer is invariably and absolutely yes. But every topic is not appropriate for every form of gamification. So the real question is, what's the right game mechanic to make this content engaging for this audience so that they reach these real-world goals? If you have one specific idea of gamification and you try to squeeze your content into it, it's going to be hard and it won't work if it's not a good fit. The game elements will end up feeling like a gimmick on top of the learning, and they won't do anything to accelerate learners towards learning objectives. Now, some clever people know that, and so they start looking for a magic list that says, if your content is A, use mechanic B. If your content is C, use mechanic D. That doesn't exist, because the most effective training is always custom designed for your specific content and context. In my program, people have made great training for everything you can imagine, from trauma-informed childcare to telling cows apart to financial compliance. And if training about insurance can be engaging, your cybersecurity training can be too. It doesn't matter what the content is, because you build custom right from the content, whatever that is. Which brings up the next obstacle. Who's got time for that? That's the big one, isn't it? But when I hear that and I dig a little to find out where exactly the time goes when they're trying to make better training, I often find that people spend a long time looking for the right idea to make their training engaging. And then they second guess every decision, they scroll through endless stock photos, and they use trial and error. So eventually they just run out of time, and of course they default to what they already know. So if time is a factor, you need to eliminate that part of the process where you're wandering in the wilderness. Get a method that allows you to just look at your content and instantly see what you should build, so you can spend the time actually building. The ADDIE method doesn't really answer that question of what to build. It's too broad. It applies to everything. And templates are too specific. They force you into a one-size-fits-all solution. But all you really need is a final challenge that simulates what people need to do in the real world, with obstacles that mimic their real-world context. And then you build them a road to get there. And often those challenges are just watered-down versions of that final one. There's a ton of examples of how to do this on this channel, and there can be a lot more to the process, but if you're really rushed, this is the basic thing you need to build, and it can be quick. I've seen absolute beginners complete their first custom prototype in a day or two when they follow a clear path and they laser focus on what's going to make the biggest difference. People get bogged down in what they think they need but don't. You'll see what I mean in the rest of this video. Plus, once you've done this a few times, you're going to develop a toolbox of ingredients that you can reuse. Not full templates, because good training is custom, but building blocks that speed up your process. Now, granted, this all depends on what you're comparing this to. If your baseline is copy-pasting a PDF content dump into Rise, then sure, nothing's faster than that. But we are talking about making effective training here. That doesn't take forever if you know what you're doing and you're laser focused. Build once with intention instead of 3 times from confusion. Obstacle number 3, my stakeholders won't allow it. Classic. My boss thinks games are trivial, we tried gamification once and it didn't work, or our topic or our organization is too serious for that, etc. Whatever resistance you're facing, 9 times out of 10, it's coming from how the idea is presented, not from the idea itself. They're reacting to what they think you're presenting, not what you're actually proposing. If your amazing idea is presented in a detailed document, nobody really gets it, and you're opening yourself up to a slew of questions that require you to have all the answers pixel by painstaking pixel, and you're gonna get tripped up. Instead, lead with a demo they can try. And this is important. Strip away all the bells and whistles, and suddenly all they can see is how relevant the activity is to their goals. That's when the resistance just melts away, because now they're not distracted by all the surface crap, and you can just sit back because they'll start making the case for your idea. They'll say things like, oh, this is learning by doing, or wow, we're teaching them and testing them at the same time. Music to my ears. And of course, don't only use the word gamification, because it means different things to different people. It's going to get you in trouble not only with people who don't like gamification, but even with people who do, because they think they're going to get badges. And now they're expecting that, so you're going from hell to hell with badges. So instead, be specific. Instead of only saying gamification, say I'm building a simulation where employees create cost-effective ventilation systems, or I'm building challenges to actually practice handling difficult customers. Be specific. So stakeholders are an external blocker, but most of the blockers in here are internal, and this next one is the perfect example. Obstacle number 4, I'm not a good graphic designer. This one kills me because it's so hard to get people off that train when they get on it, but it reveals a fundamental misunderstanding about what makes training effective. The most important part of any training program is what you make the learner do, even if it's a knowledge-based training. Then intrinsic incentives, then difficulty balancing, then UX, and graphics are part of the wrapper. They're the furthest thing from your content, and they have the least impact on the learning outcomes. If you don't believe me, imagine I make you spend an hour playing tic-tac-toe with someone on your phone. It would suck, right? Because tic-tac-toe sucks. But what if it was a beautiful tic-tac-toe game? Doesn't matter if it still sucks. Same with your training. Reading a PDF is soul killing, even if it's a pretty PDF. But if your challenges are relevant and engaging, learners get absorbed in solving the problems you're giving them. And after a while, they'll abstract out the graphics entirely and focus on the activity itself. It's like they can see through the matrix. South Park has been on the air for 28 years, and it ain't because of their graphics. Now, if you do have good graphic design chops, great, it won't hurt, but it's not enough. And if you don't have that skill and you're worried because you're seeing all these beautiful demos on LinkedIn, just keep it simple. Look at Apple's designs. Clean, simple, functional. You absolutely don't have to go over the top with graphics, and besides, they can be a major time and budget suck. You don't need them. Obstacle number 5, I have to use our template. I hear you, I deal with the template police all the time with my own clients. But templates are mostly there to control look and feel. It's that visual consistency that's important for organizations, and I get that. I'm not telling you to fight against that, but like I just said, that visual style is not where the engagement lives. So as long as your solution is on brand, with the right colors and fonts and everything, you can keep the template police happy. They get to pick the colors, but you get to make the decisions that actually matter. What people do in the training, how we motivate them to do it, etc. And most templates include a variety of slide types that you can choose from, and some of them are pretty blank, which means that you can treat them as a canvas for whatever challenge you need to create. And to demonstrate this, I once took the world's most boring ass corporate template and I turned it into an engaging gamified training. On their surface, it's on brand, but underneath, learners are figuring things out for themselves, they're practicing and building real skills actively. I'll link that video below. Obstacle number 6, I can't code. You don't need to code. Say it with me. You don't need to code. JavaScript can be intimidating to non-coders like you and me, and if you're strapped for time, it can seem like too big a project to actually learn to code. But it's wrong to assume that in order to build effective and engaging e-learning, you have to make it so complicated that it needs JavaScript or other forms of code. That's just not true. I scaled a gamification business to multiple 6 figures on my own using nothing but storyline. No AI, no JavaScript. In 11 years, I have never needed code. I don't need it now, and neither do you. Yeah, I've started using a little JavaScript recently, but only because it's faster. I still don't know what I'm doing, but that's not the point. The point is, everything I build with code can be done with triggers, it just takes a bit longer. So if you're allergic to JavaScript, you already have everything you need to be a superhero just with storyline triggers. You don't need code. So you're probably already seeing a pattern here. These obstacles aren't technical problems, they're mostly mindset issues. The real obstacle is not your content, your time, your tools, or your stakeholders. It's that belief that good training has to be complicated. Lots of people think their situation is uniquely impossible. My content is too dry, my deadlines are just crazy. Well, I swear you're not alone, and I've seen so many people successfully break out of that I really don't want you to stay in those limiting beliefs. You deserve better than feeling stuck. And once you make one piece of training that stands stands out, it's amazing how many of those obstacles just disappear. Stakeholders will all of a sudden need you to make all the training like that from now on, so maybe you can have a say now when it comes to deadlines. This often isn't gradual. When people see what good training could be, the dominoes start falling and it can go very quickly. So if you're dealing with these blockers and you want a systematic approach to solving them, check out the Effective Gamification Framework. In it, I give you the step-by-step process to turn any content into engaging challenges that create real-world results. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.